Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel, and today we are going to be taking a closer look at Superman Smashes the Klan, a brand new 3-part miniseries from Gene Luen Yang, the man who of course you may remember from his work on the Super-Man series, as well as the guy who is currently writing the Terrifics. Now, why exactly am I coming to you like this, you might be wondering? Well, this is a really important story, one that actually comes with a lot of history to unpack, and I thought that I would use this as an excuse to do just that. You see, this story is actually heavily based on the 1940s Superman radio serial called Superman versus the Klan of the Fiery Cross. This is a really important story in Superman history. You see, there was an investigative journalist by the name of Stetson Kennedy who actually went undercover within the ranks of the real Ku Klux Klan back at the height of their power, learned their secrets, their rituals, and then when local law enforcement and politicians would do nothing to stop the group, he took his information and actually sent it to the writers of the Superman radio show, knowing that if anyone could stop a threat like this, it would be Superman. This story is held up as one of those great moments in superhero history where in fictional heroics actually did real-world good, exposing real evil and making a difference. And with that, let's hop on into the comic, shall we?
Alrighty then, so as we join the comic, we can see this is indeed a straight-up period piece. We are in the 40s, prime golden age Superman, complete with Nazi super soldier, the Atom Man, who has come to Metropolis to destroy the dam and deliver revenge on those inscrutable Americans for defeating the master race during the war. Of course, the only ubermensch this guy should worry about is Superman himself, who appears to lay a massive smackdown on old Buckethead here. Again, as I said before, this is a golden age period piece. So not only does Superman's costume look like it's out of a Fleischer cartoon again, but his power set has actually been set all the way back to their original parameters. He can leap tall buildings in a single bound, is more powerful than a locomotive, faster than a speeding bullet, but cannot fly. He is also still very susceptible to kryptonite, as we discover it's that rare mineral that was actually powering the Atom Man's suit. Kryptonite in this universe also seems to work a little differently than we've seen it before. It still has the physical aspect, making Superman feel weak and sickly, but it also appears to have a psychosomatic component now. Superman hallucinates that his hand turns into some sort of weird alien bug hand, and we're going to come back to this more and more as the issue progresses. Now from there we transition on over to our other main characters of this story, the Lee family, who are moving on up from Chinatown to the nicer east side of Metropolis. The dad's got a great new job at a local science lab and is more than happy to ditch his language and his culture so he can really truly integrate into the American dream. Daughter Roberta, not her real name mind you, is a little bit more reticent about the whole thing. She hates the idea of leaving Chinatown and everything she's ever known behind. She's also the only one who seems to notice when the family is in suburbia for longer than 15 minutes, people start barbing them with racist comments. Hey, we sent you a housewarming pie, hope it's okay that it's apple and not dog. Also, are you Chinese or Japanese? We can't tell the difference, but we certainly know we hate one of those more than the other, what with this being post-World War II and everything. Brother Tommy, though, ends up fitting in like a champ, though. Turns out he has an amazing pitching arm, and wouldn't you just know it, their across-the-street neighbor is Jimmy Olsen, who runs the local youth baseball team. Tommy's so good he ends up rustling the feathers of local bully Chuck Riggs. He was the star pitcher previously, and when it seems that he can't hack it anymore, blows up in front of Tommy and again starts hurling a bunch of racist comments that get him kicked off the team by Jimmy. Obviously, hatred like this is learned, and as we soon discover, Chuck's only male role model is his uncle, aka the Grand Scorpion, the local leader of the Metropolis chapter of the Clan of the Fiery Cross. Now, where a normal person would see a kid getting kicked off a little league team as not a big deal, Uncle Scorpion right here sees this as just more outsiders taking American jobs, and that they should all get together and send a message to the Lee family that they aren't welcome here, and with that they decide to suit up in their robes, and as their namesake might lead you to believe, burn a cross on the Lee's front yard. However, when this doesn't scare them away, Uncle Scorpion tries to get his nephew Chuck to burn the family's house down with a Molotov cocktail. Wouldn't you know it though, his pitching arm kinda sucks, wah wah. Now the dad, not wanting to stick out, decides to try and not make a big deal about the whole attempt attempted arson hate crime thing, but by then it's already too far gone. The cops have gotten involved, and by extension, superstar Daily Planet reporters Lois Lane and Clark Kent. Clark takes to Roberta, the young girl, right away, seeing a lot of himself in her. After all, he knows better than just about anyone what it feels like to be an alien, to be an outsider, to feel like you don't belong, and he's feeling like that even more recently after his run with that kryptonite. You see, again, in the unique universe set up by this comic, it's implied that maybe the Kents didn't actually figure out that Superman was space and thought that maybe the rocket that brought him here was from Japan or Germany. And so, Superman is really only coming to terms with his possible alien heritage stuff right now, which plays out through a series of crazy hallucinations wherein he has breakfast with his alien bug mom and dad. Now, Tommy plays off the whole attack like it pretty much didn't happen. Again, he makes friends very easily, and everyone really likes him. Roberta, though, is jumping at her own shadow, not sure that if any of the kids who are friends with her brother might very well have been at her house the other night. This ends up leading to a major blow-up argument between brother and sister that sees them splitting up on the way home. A terrible turn of events because Tommy ends up getting grabbed by Scorpion. The idea being that if the cross burning wasn't enough to scare the family off, then maybe a tarring and feathering will do the trick. Roberta tries to go to the cops for help, but they're no help at all, saying, "Oh, things like that don't happen in this neighborhood. You don't have to worry, little girl. You should just be happy we let you and yours live in our community." With no one else to turn to in saving her brother, Roberta once again decides to look up Lois and Clark, which proves to be the absolute right thing to do. Why, Roberta even has a great clue for Superman to work off of, and that is that she remembered that Chuck had the same boots as one of the people that lit the cross on her front yard. And here's where things really start to get interesting. Chuck Briggs, the bully, the nephew of the Grand Scorpion, is actually the biggest Superman fan in the world. He was always a little uncertain of what his uncle was up to, but now seeing that Superman is on the other side of it, he certainly knows who is the good guy and who's the bad guy here and wants to try and help make amends for what he did. They better hurry though. Tommy was able to escape his captors but only ended up falling in the water and is now drowning. And it's on that tense note right there the comic comes to a close. So that was Superman Smashes the Klan issue #1, and it delivered pretty much everything I was expecting from this book. It's a great little golden age throwback that deals with some very dark, very serious subject matter, but juxtaposes it with some very soft and very inviting artwork. You can also tell this is a very deeply personal story for Jean Lewin Yang. Not just because a big part of this story is an Asian family trying to find their place in the American dream, but also because if you know anything about the man, he's a huge proponent and has done TED Talks about using comics as teaching tools in the school place. And this comic really does feel like a unit textbook. For one, it's longer than normal. You get about 80 pages worth of story here, and I could easily see the classroom saying, "All right, that's the end of chapter 1. Let us discuss and open your worksheets." And really at the heart of it too, there's this great theme that's building about the idea of home, what makes us whole, etc., etc. Overall, I'd give this an 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it too, and I hope YouTube doesn't demonetize this video. Cause, if I was an actual money-making racist YouTuber, I'm sure they would let all the Klan imagery slide, but because, it's a story about anti-racism, ooh, gotta demonetize that.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, and if you're in the market for comic books right now, and I mean really who isn't, you might want to check out my book depository link down in the description. It's no joke my favorite place to buy comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link, not only will you be getting yourself something nice, but you'll be helping out the channel a little bit while you do so. So, you win, I win, everybody wins, right? And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel. Bye-bye.